Hello and welcome. It's Doug Diamond here. Hope you guys are doing well this evening. It is 10:06 p.m. on Memorial Day weekend, Sunday night, May 26th, 2024. And this is your host, Doug Diamond. You've reached another Diamond Report Live. Glad you guys are here. Looks like you guys are chatting away in chat. It's always good to see. And over on Rumble as well. Got several folks watching there. So welcome, everyone. We're also live streaming to my two Facebook pages. So welcome. Glad you guys made it, and I figured we could go through the news. Don't have a ton of stuff tonight. I figured we'd try and keep it a little short. We've been running extra long lately. Been more in the 3 to 3.5 hour range, which is that's a lot. It's a lot of talking on my part and a lot of listening on your part. So we'll probably try and keep it a little bit shorter tonight, just because it is kind of a holiday weekend, you know, in the U.S. at least. So glad you guys are here. Let's take a look at the news. I've got Hal Turner Radio Show pulled up. This is a pretty new posting here from last night, I guess. Flash update. Well, yesterday, 10:47 a.m. Eastern Time yesterday. China State Television declares, quote, "will take Taiwan in early June," end quote. So, I wonder what that means. Says video below shows Chinese state TV declaring today, this was yesterday, that China will reclaim Taiwan likely in early June. It has begun preparing the Chinese public for a coming war and possible political sanctions and isolation. So how about that? According to Chinese Defense Ministry sources, the Chinese army will launch an attack on Taiwan in early June. Here's a video of the China State Television from Saturday morning. Guess we can watch it. It's in Chinese, so my Chinese is a little rusty, but you can get the idea here. Obviously a propaganda type video, but it shows it animation striking the island here. So who knows? Who knows where this is going? I don't think it's good news. I don't think that if someone like a Trump were in office right now that this would even be a question. Which is why I do think that it's very possible that this could play out before the election, if there even is an election this year in the U.S., because obviously, you know, if they've got a strong president in the United States, which we do not now, we have the world's weakest weakling as president right now, China would want to make a move before there's any sort of regime change in the U.S., I would think. So we will see what happens. It says, warning to the U.S., China also publicly warned the U.S. to end all visits to Taiwan and adhere to the One China policy or be ready to face the consequences. No response from the U.S. or anyone else yet. Ongoing military exercise 2 days ago, the people of Taiwan awoke to find their island surrounded by Chinese warships, as reported on this website, HalTurnerRadioShow.com. This morning, China has completely surrounded Taiwan in all directions. Again, this was yesterday. China currently has over 30 ships and 40-plus fighter jets in active, quote, training. The map below shows the situation. So you can see the island is completely encircled. Flash update yesterday morning. Taiwan Defense Forces will destroy the Three Gorges Dam when China invades the rogue Chinese province, which will kill hundreds of thousands of Chinese people if that happens. I don't know if you guys know about the Three Gorges Dam, but that's pretty major. So, and then he's asking for people to make sure they're prepared. So where are you guys with your preps? I've done about everything I can do. I don't know about you guys. Kind of prepped out at this point. However, you know, most people are not. Most people are just ignoring it and hoping everything just goes back magically to the way it was when Trump is elected. And I'm telling you, that's probably not going to happen. Even if he does get in, it's not going to change anything, in my opinion, because he's part of the problem. Think Skype, for instance. So, yeah, Miss Kelly says she's prepped. Good, good. Yeah, most people are not, though, as you guys well know. German Bundestag calls for Ukraine air defense zone by NATO. And let's see, Yemen claims they struck a ship in the Mediterranean Sea for the first time in their Israel blockade. So that's a few of the headlines on HalTurnerRadioShow.com. I think Hal's doing a good job. He's got a good radio show. I try and tune in every evening. I listen to it after the fact, though. For the people that are subscribed on his site, you can go there and just download the MP3 of the show when it's done. So I think that's a good way to go with Hal's show. Okay, so this MSM article I pulled up here, I think I have another version of this particular story pulled up elsewhere on a different tab, but we'll look at this one. Biden plans to address the Trump hush money verdict from the White House. The hush money verdict tells me that they must already know how it's going to work out, because if he's found innocent, what would they have to say? So obviously, the decision is already done. The fix is in, right? Clearly, if he's planning to talk, there's got to be a reason he's going to talk, and it's probably not to sing Donald Trump's praises or to say that everyone should give him a pass. That's my guess. Says President Biden plans to address former President Trump's Manhattan criminal trial, I would put that in quotes, in a White House setting when a jury delivers its verdict, according to a report. The 81-year-old president's message will be tailored to the outcome of the trial, but they don't know what that is yet. Yeah, right. But in any scenario, he intends to stress that the U.S. legal system worked and that Americans should respect the process. So that kind of tells me right there that they must be planning to put him in jail. Because if we're supposed to respect the process, that means we have to agree with whatever they have decided. And if a jury or a judge decides to throw Trump in jail and therefore remove him from the ballot, if they can do that, then they certainly will try that, I think. Biden will deliver remarks whether the 77-year-old former president is convicted, acquitted, or the jury cannot agree on a verdict. So we'll see. Closing arguments on Trump's trial over alleged hush money payments to porn star Stormy Daniels are set to commence on Tuesday. It is believed that the jury could reach a verdict as early as next week. The exact timing and setting of Biden's speech have not been definitively determined, but it won't be done on the campaign trail. Yeah, right. Everything they do is on the campaign trail. In an effort to have his remarks not perceived as being political, Biden will deliver them from the White House grounds. Anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens. Kind of interesting. And I'm not a Trump supporter. I just think that the whole thing's so ridiculous. I'm sure you guys are as well. I'm sure you guys do as well. All right, so the big news of the week, I suppose, or at least part of it, part of the big news, is Klaus Schwab stepping down. Also, Jamie Dimon, apparently. No relation. Jamie Dimon, no relation to me. And I'm not Dimon anyway, as you guys know. D-I-M-O-N. D-I-M-O-N is the guy's name. The chair of the FDIC is also stepping down. So what's going on here? So this article says, Klaus Schwab, the 86-year-old founder and executive chairman of the WEF, World Economic Forum, announced his decision to step down from the globalist platform that is a driver for the Great Reset, the plan for totalitarian control, the commoditization of nature, such air and water, and a massive wealth transfer. Schwab's children have been appointed to high-ranking positions, and his wife heads the organization's foundation and awards ceremonies in Davos. Jamie Dimon, the 68-year-old CEO of J.P. Morgan, said that the search is on for his successor and that he will step down in less than 5 years. So he's not stepping down anytime soon. Martin Grunberg, the 71-year-old chairman of the FDIC, has resigned over accusations of a toxic environment due to misogyny and sexual harassment in the FDIC workplace that employs 6,000 people. The FDIC has bigger problems. We previously reported that it holds a mere $121.8 billion in reserves to cover over $17 trillion in deposits. $10 trillion of that amount is held in deposits with a total of less than $250,000. In addition, $1.2 0.170 CEOs stepped down in 2023. John Williams makes some startling predictions about massive disruption, banking, and digital currency. And here's that video here. So yeah, interesting about Schwab. We will see what happens. I do think that King Charles is head of all of that as far as the World Economic Forum goes. He is above Schwab in that as far as decisions being made. Do I think he's going to be consulted on who the replacement will be? And of course, Schwab isn't going anywhere. He's still going to have his input. He's still going to be part of a board or something like that. He's not actually going away, so don't get your hopes up is what I'm saying. It is interesting, though, because clearly they have had a lot of pushback from the useless eaters, such as yourself and myself, most likely, over the years. So Schwab's kind of getting a bad rap, even though he is a literal Bond villain. I mean, they made the Bond villain characters, the guy petting the cat in the Bond films, well, I forget what his name was now. They made him based on Klaus Schwab's either father or grandfather. I'm not sure which. Probably father. So, yeah, literal Bond villain. So that's why he looks so much like him. All right, let's see. UN announces plan to ban most farming and meat, triggering shortages and starvation. Yeah, I think that probably would do a good job of that. United Nations World Homicide Organization Director General Tedros declaring that farming accounts for 30% of greenhouse gas emissions. Well, it's back to the cows. Obviously, it's the cows' fault. Says that the world needs to shift to plant-based diets and kill all the cows. They didn't really say that in print, but that's what they mean. He said that 130 countries have signed the COP28 Declaration on Climate and Health to implement bad policies. UN globalists consider beneficial carbon dioxide toxic and now say that methane is also toxic, and they are targeting rice farming for destruction. Half of the world gets 60% of their calories and nutrition from rice, which is why they want to ban it. The UN claims that starvation was caused from the but the cause was the lockdowns. There has been a 40% average increase in global mortality following the but you're not supposed to notice that. The UN should be rejected rather than trusted. Definitely. Yes, Dr. Evil, Klaus Schwab, yes. Anyway, so there you go. They want to ban farming and ban meat, which you and I know that, but it's something that I think is still sinking in for a lot of people. They really do want to do this. So there's a couple other links and a video embedded, two videos embedded here on this article. Needtoknow.news. That's where that one is. And 21, sorry, my voice isn't working tonight. 21 smart cities confirmed in the planned fall of American cities. Well, that makes sense to me. This is what the article says. Smart cities claim that the use of technology and the IoT, Internet of Things, are solutions to improve everything from critical infrastructure and public safety to efficiencies in city energy use. 21 cities across the U.S. have just signed on to be so-called smart cities. And they include New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Jose, San Diego, Austin, Seattle, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Dallas, Portland, Chicago, Charlotte, Las Vegas, Boston, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Louisville, Boulder, Denver, and Columbus. The chosen cities are being intentionally crashed so that certain mega conglomerates like BlackRock can pick up the real estate for pennies on the dollar. That's about what I was going to say. People will demand a solution to crime and degradation, which will be technology, AI, and automation. China is the model for a technocratic dictatorship. Once again, it's talking about John Williams here. Gives a timeline for implementation and says that in the next 24 to 36 months, these cities will make huge changes. So I have not seen this video. I'm not really sure if that is indeed what is being said in the video. However, it is pretty interesting, and we will see what happens. That makes sense that these cities have been targeted for destruction. Obviously, all blue cities. Most cities are blue cities. So yeah, the goal there is to make it so unlivable, so terrible that the people there cry out to be controlled. And that's probably what's going to happen. They're going to be controlled through AI. And obviously police crackdowns and things like that. Okay, that was on needtoknow.news, and one more from that site. List of grocery stores and growers that use Appeal, you know it well, I'm sure, Appeal food coding that's backed by Bill Gates. A health researcher made a list of stores and growers and their policies around using Appeal's EdAppeal, used on conventional produce, and OrganAppeal, used on organic produce. Food coatings, which in my opinion makes it instantaneously not organic, if it's talking about organic foods. He wrote that as of May 12th this year, Appeal's coatings have only been commercially applied on apples, cucumbers, avocados, asparagus, limes, lemons, grapefruits, mandarins, mangoes, and oranges. The coating is odorless, tasteless, and clear, so there's no way to tell when it's used. The vast majority of grocery store produce is not treated with Appeal. To remove as much Appeal as possible, use vinegar or baking soda, not both, and produce a brush or cotton hemp towel to scrub the produce. So they're saying it can be scrubbed off. I don't think that's really true. From what I read before, I don't think so. I think it's embedded in the skin of the various fruits and vegetables. I could be wrong on that, but I remember hearing that before. So maybe you guys in chat can let me know if you remember that. Anyway, here's some of the grocers who are going to be using Appeal. Natural Grocers, Sprouts, Costco, Publix, H-E-B, Central Market, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Jimbo's, Azure Standard, Kimberton Whole Foods, Aldi, Kroger, Albertsons, Target, and Walmart. And then there's various extra information here on each one of these, a sentence or two, or maybe even a paragraph on each one. So, for instance, like on Kroger, it says, Kroger claims that produce items sold under their own label, under the Kroger label, are not treated with Appeal food coatings. However, Kroger is not able to speak about or certify other produce brands that they carry, so they don't even know. And apparently they're not labeling this stuff. So, there you go. Once again, Bill Gates, from the gates of hell, strikes again. If he doesn't get us one way with his idiotic Skype, then yes, he's going to make sure all of the fruits and veggies are treated with Skype or whatever he's planning on. Anyway, not good news. So that's on needtoknow.news. All right, and then I thought this was very ridiculous, but it's definitely a sign of the times. Watch, unhinged elitist women pay $4,000 for rage rituals that look exactly like demonic exorcism. This video you're about to see should act as a public service announcement for all the young men gearing up to dive into the dating pool. Beware, this monstrosity is what is waiting for you, so tread very carefully. What are we talking about? There's a bizarre new, quote, therapy catching on among elite women who've lost all sense of hope and direction and have cash to burn. They're flocking to rage retreats where, for a hefty fee, they can be dropped off in the woods with a stick to wildly thrash at any unsuspecting piece of nature within arm's reach. Well, where are the environmentalists? Where are they? This disturbing therapy is a prime example of just how mentally twisted and spiritually lost the left truly is. They've turned their backs on God and now grasp at any ridiculous thing for answers. This not only makes them miserable souls, but also easy targets for scam artists. Yeah, $4,000, I guess that's per person. Wow. So, all right, you want to see it? I imagine you do. So let me go ahead and play it. It says liberal women spend $4,000 to bash sticks on the ground and scream at rage ritual retreat. The bizarre wellness retreat is designed to help women deal with anger. All right. Well, here we go. Yeah, poor sticks and poor trees. No kidding. Where are the environmentalists here? Where are they? Seems like they should be outraged, but no, they're probably there screaming with all these other crazy women. And of course, now the next thing is you're going to have a guy pretending to be a woman who's going to go to one of these things and probably be there. You watch. That's probably going to happen next. I thought this last paragraph was pretty good way to sum this up. What these angry, confused, and unbalanced women probably need is a dose of stability. They should consider going to church, focusing on family, and finding hope, joy, and incredible achievement in the simple pleasures of life, like raising well-balanced, respectful kids, cultivating faith, and falling in love with their husbands all over again. That sure beats shelling out thousands to throw a toddler-like tantrum in the middle of the woods with a bunch of unhappy, boxed wineaholics. So there you go. Let me see what you guys are saying. Someone should send in the dog man. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that would be a sight to see. I agree, cowboy. Well, we just saw it. So that's apparently what it's all about. Rage rituals. Well, you know we're in the end times when you see stuff like that. Morgan Spurlock dies. Oscar-nominated Super Size Me director was 53. Although, I don't know, it says he died after a private battle with cancer. He was a director. Did you guys see the film Super Size Me years ago? Oscar-nominated filmmaker Spurlock, director of groundbreaking documentary Super Size Me, has died after a private battle with cancer. He was 53. Spurlock passed away peacefully in New York, surrounded by his family and friends. According to a family statement that noted the cause was complications of cancer. A lot of that going around right now. Deadline, this is the website, Deadline, understands he'd been undergoing chemotherapy treatment earlier this year. It was a sad day as we said goodbye to my brother Morgan, said Craig Spurlock, one of the filmmaker's older brothers. They collaborated on several documentary projects, including Morgan Spurlock, Inside Man, and 7 Deadly Sins. Morgan gave so much through his art, ideas, and generosity. The world has lost a true creative genius and a special man. I'm so proud to have worked together with him. So, yeah, Super Size Me from 20 years ago, Sundance Film Festival, when Spurlock voluntarily ate nothing but McDonald's food for 30 days in an experiment meant to assess the health impacts of a fast food diet. He put himself on camera, Michael Moore style, chronicling how his weight ballooned and he suffered near catastrophic damage to his liver by subsisting on quarter-pounder combo meals, French fries, flapjacks, breakfast sausages, and the like, while slurping soft drinks. Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing at that time that that almost killed him. Just made him feel absolutely horrible. I mean, obviously it would anyone. But as far as the liver goes, I think this next article will help explain the liver situation. It says, his dirty little secret, late Super Size Me star, wasn't just shoveling McDonald's into his body during a fast food doc. No. Says that Spurlock claimed that he ate nothing but McDonald's for an entire month during the filming of the documentary, which showed the adverse effects of his diet on his physical and psychological health, but it was later revealed that he'd been struggling with alcohol abuse during the same period. So, yeah. I guess eating McDonald's every single day probably would drive you to drink. So who can blame him? Anyways, so that was on Radar Online is where that was. And I saw this one too and thought you guys would want to know about this. And I found myself thinking about this couple off and on throughout the day when I saw this morning. Haitian gangs shot and burned the bodies of Missouri's Poles missionary daughter. Missouri politician is what that is. Missouri's politician's missionary daughter and husband, while the couple was on their phone with the father-in-law, which was the guy's dad. Politician's daughter and son-in-law killed in Haiti. Missionary who was killed along with his wife by gang violence in Haiti. You guys knew about what was happening in Haiti. We reported on that on this show. It's been a while now, though, because it's been going on for, I don't know, a month or two maybe. Missionary who was killed along with his wife by gang violence in Haiti this week was frantically trying to assess the deadly situation while he was on the phone with his dad. The elder man could hear the pandemonium as armed attackers stormed in, killed his son Davy, who's 23, and his wife Natalie, who was 21, and set at least one of their bodies on fire. Well, it turned out to be his body. It says later in the article. I was on the phone with my son when that was going down, he said. Dad, we've got a commotion again. I've got to see what's going on. David, 48, this is the dad, David, 48, told the Miami Herald of the moment Thursday night, a second gang descended on the compound belonging to Missions in Haiti, Inc., the nonprofit that he and his wife started more than 20 years ago. So this guy's parents started the nonprofit in Haiti, and the two of them were there serving the same nonprofit. It says the elder Lloyd had traveled from Port-au-Prince back to Oklahoma just the day before, leaving Davy and Natalie on the campus to look after the mission's school and children's home and bakery. So, and there they are with some of the kids. There she is there. And then there's further pictures and things like that on this article, which I thought was pretty well done. So anyway, very sad, but yeah. It says the gang members got away with 3 vehicles, equipment, and money, including the mission's payroll for the week. And then there was another guy that was with them who was their sort of like liaison type of guy, and he was also killed with them. So very sad. Anyway, kind of takes you back to the whole idea of what we talk about here on End Times Dates, where it's about the 5th seal, martyrdom happening, Christians being killed for their beliefs. And of course we don't know the details, and these were just gangs here that killed these kids, but it's really sad. Anyway, that's on New York Post. And then a couple articles from Zero Hedge. Biden administration is hiring a meme manager, and hilarity ensues. The Biden campaign has posted a job listing seeking a meme manager, prompting many to submit examples of their finest Biden meme manager memes. That makes sense. The listing seeking a partner manager content and meme pages was posted on Daybook. It states, in this role, you will initiate and manage day-to-day operations in engaging the internet's top content and meme pages, like X and so forth, I assume. That is hilarious. Biden campaign to hire meme manager as president struggles for support from young voters. The ideal candidate for this role is passionate about bringing political content to voters where they already are on the internet. Responsibilities in the post include a need to, quote, cultivate and manage relationships with top digital media companies, podcasters, and meme pages across a number of social media platforms, as well as to identify and land engagement opportunities. The listing betrays the fact that Biden is hemorrhaging support among young voters, and the campaign, in its infinite ignorance, believes that a few well-executed memes might turn that around. The problem is the left can't meme. Leftist memes routinely include walls of text explaining what they mean, rendering the meme itself pointless and absurd. So here's a pointless and absurd meme right here. Leftist memes be like, and it's got like, 2,000 words here. If I don't get the job, maybe Occupy Democrats will hire me. So anyway, there's all kinds of memes embedded here. The left can't meme is the one ring to rule them all. The left can't meme because they are memes. Well said, Walken. Anyway, pretty funny. Now, let's see. Behind the Cloward and Piven downfall of America comes a time when the rigors and exertions of being insane just aren't worth it anymore. You end up in a deadly Pareto distribution in which 80% of your energy gets wasted on hallucinating, and the rest is barely enough to get yourself dressed, comb your purple hair, and choke down a granola bar. Verging on a long, hot summer, the party behind Joe Biden, quote-unquote, looks like a 1950s horror movie, complete with lurching ghouls, evil scientists with white lab coats, and the sore, beset denizens of Anytown, USA, screaming down the streets. Only it's the actual life of our nation now, and it looks like an awful lot of the people who live here lawfully have had enough of it. The mysterious cabal in power knows that they must ditch the old stumblebum pretending to run for president, and time is running out to get the dastardly deed done. Here's just how crazy the party is. Rumor has it that they might just rudely shove old Joe JB aside and try the Hail Mary pass of inviting RFK Jr. back on board from exile to head the ticket. I don't think there's any chance they do that. No, but I have heard that they may very well shove him aside in favor of someone like a Gavin Newsom or, who knows, Hillary Clinton, Michael Obama, any number of people. Yeah, it says beyond that, you're back to the maddening rotation of Gavin Newsom, Michelle, and Rodan the Flying Reptile, aka she whose turn it is, all of them appallingly impossible. So I guess that's probably Hillary. The Michelle ploy might tempt them, but let's face it, it's really just Barack getting a fourth term in the White House, really his fourth and a half since the Obama Intel blob cabal was behind all the Russiagate roguery that beset, preoccupied, thwarted, and overthrew Trump's turn in office. Behind the still charming Obama facade lurks a penumbra of menace. It begins to look like maybe he really did want to destroy our country to complete the Cloward and Piven downfall that dedicated Marxians deem the necessary step to creating their nirvana of equity and inclusion. So yeah, who knows where it's headed. Cloward and Piven downfall of America. So yeah, we've had some discussion about that lately, so I thought I would mention that article as far as Cloward and Piven go. Technocracy.news. Let's take a look at the headlines, the top three on the website. Trilateral Anthony Blinken does not commit to submitting WHO pandemic treaty to Senate for confirmation. How about that? Since 1973, 11 of the 16 secretaries of state have been members of the Trilateral Commission, almost 70%. The rest were closely aligned with the commission. The current secretary is Trilateral Anthony Blinken. This article hints at Blinken's intention. He will not submit the WHO treaty to the Senate for two-thirds confirmation. Why not? It's not trilateral policy. So that's pretty interesting. What I don't know is, let me check. Let me check and see if this article actually opens. Yeah, it's actually working right now. So let me read just a little bit further here, just because it is kind of interesting. It's not trilateral policy. The Trilateral Commission has also dominated the positions of U.S. Trade Representative, who negotiates trade treaties, and National Security Advisor to the President, who's a gatekeeper to the President. Biden's NSA is Jake Sullivan, also a member of the Trilateral Commission. Secretary of State Blinken did not offer a clear answer to Congress on Wednesday when asked if the administration of President Biden would submit any binding global documents on pandemics to the Senate for ratification. The question, raised by Rep. Chris Smith, Republican from New Jersey, surfaced in the context of the upcoming World Health Assembly, WHA, and the World Health Organization annual convention. It says the WHO has, for the past 3 years, attempted to galvanize the world to agree to a legal structure giving power to the UN Health Agency over public health emergencies that could grow into epidemics or pandemics, attempting to use momentum for a clear protocol arising in the aftermath of the The proposed pandemic treaty has been so controversial that WHO members states have not been able to agree on what to call it. The official nomenclature is currently the WHO Convention Agreement or other international instrument, or Pandemic Prevention, Preparedness, and Response, or WHO CA+. They have to give it a name that you can never remember, or that's completely confusing and obscured, so you don't know what it is that you're agreeing to. The debate around what kind of document the pandemic accord will be in the U.S. has essentially centered on if it will be a treaty. The Constitution requires all treaties, binding agreements with foreign powers, to receive two-thirds support in the Senate. The president cannot unilaterally sign America into a treaty, but watch. This is a hold my beer type of situation. They're going to do it anyway. Presidents have avoided this requirement in the past. That's because they had scruples, unlike Joe Biden, by designating international agreements such as the Paris Climate Agreement and the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action executive agreements. They just changed the name. They don't call them treaties. They call them executive agreements. Smith essentially asked Blinken if Biden planned to use the executive agreement exception to get around Congress during the hearing on Wednesday. World Health Assembly, they're violating their own rules about procedure. Are you going to submit the WHO Pandemic Treaty, which is rife with problems, to the Senate for ratification? The Secretary of State did not offer a definitive clarification, big surprise, arguing that the participating countries are so far from agreeing on an international law governing pandemics that such a discussion is not currently necessary. On the pandemic agreement, the way things stand right now, I don't see that coming to a conclusion in the near term, Blinken responded. There's just not a consensus on it. It's something we continue to work on, but continue to work on making sure that we uphold our interests and values, including on, for example, intellectual property. Another point of contention has been attempts to create equitable international structures for the distribution of medicine, vaccines, and other health supplies, as well as challenges to the ownership of intellectual property by pharmaceutical companies, as Blinken mentioned. So anyway, the full story linked here is actually on Breitbart. So what I'll do is, in the Substack post, I will link to the Breitbart story, because this article on technocracy.news will go away probably before you guys are even able to receive the Substack post that I send out on Tuesday. And if you're not on the list, you should join the list. diamonddisc.substack.com. Go there for a free sign-up. All right, headlines on reclaimthenet.org. Biden's bold move to combat AI abuse stirs surveillance and censorship fears. On-device surveillance proposals stir debate over privacy rights and the future of digital content monitoring. All right, and then Trump promises Ulbricht's freedom. Ross Ulbricht's freedom. Ulbricht's case has sparked heated debates on digital rights and government overreach. All well and good, but what about the J6ers, Trump? What about them? You just going to let them rot? I've not heard him ever even talk about them. Queensland Tribunal rules X can be liable for hate speech published on the platform. Says the decision challenges X's claim of immunity from local jurisdiction, setting a potential precedent for global social media governance. Senator Kennedy slams media after op-ed on trans athletes is secretly deleted. Criticism of transgender inclusion in women's sports deemed inflammatory and against editorial standards. So, interesting. Yeah, his op-ed was deleted so that it couldn't be shown. New documents reveal researchers had plans to continue election censorship into 2024. EIP planned to extend its controversial anti-disinformation efforts into the next presidential election, which, of course, ironically, their anti-disinformation efforts is complete censorship. And it's complete disinformation itself. Analysis: the future of surveillance. Microsoft introduces always watching feature for every PC. Microsoft's AI-driven recall feature logs every action on your PC, raising alarms about security and user privacy, particularly when you look to the future. And of course, many people don't even have PCs anymore. They're only using phones at this point, but that's obviously already going on phones. Twitter files fuel Massey's fight against government-funded censorship. Musk's Twitter files revealed government's role in online censorship, prompting Massey's bill to defund related research. So those are the headlines on reclaimthenet.org. Then this one from the Liberty Beacon: Russia and China have had enough. If you want confrontation, you'll get it. Their patience has run out. Ooh, the panda and the bear versus the eagle. It says, Russia and China have had enough. Both have had enough of being polite. You want confrontation? Confrontation is what you're going to get. Something very important happened earlier this week in Astana during the meeting of the Council of Ministers of Foreign Affairs of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi went straight to the point. He called for SCO members to maintain their strategic autonomy and never allow external forces to turn Eurasia into a geopolitical arena. Anyway, let's see. It says Wang Yi detailed how a few countries are pursuing hegemony and power, forming small cliques, establishing hidden rules, engaging in interference and suppression, decoupling and cutting off ties, and even assisting the three forces in the region, thus attempting to suppress the strategic autonomy of the global South. So apparently, and here's the map we're talking about here, redefining the three forces. So apparently they've had enough. Sooner rather than later, perhaps as early as next year, BRICS and the SCO may be working not only in tandem but possibly sharing the same table. Yeah, they're trying to get away from the U.S. dollar and the U.S. in general. And who can blame them at this point? The U.S. empire. All right. RT.com. I don't know if you guys knew about the landslide. Deadly landslide in Papua New Guinea. Death toll likely over 670. Landslide. International Organization for Migration's estimate comes after a natural disaster obliterates one village and impacts several more. UN body, the International Organization for Migration, fears that Friday's massive landslide in Papua New Guinea, which buried an entire village, has claimed more than 670 lives. Local authorities initially estimated that the natural disaster had resulted in 100 fatalities or more. Tragedy struck when a side of Mount Mungalo, located in a remote northern area of the South Pacific island nation, sheared off and completely covered Yambali village with a mix of rocks, mud, and uprooted trees. According to a statement on Saturday by Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs, more than 6 municipalities have been affected to some extent. The disaster zone is located some 600 kilometers, 373 miles away from the capital, Port Moresby. 670 people. It says, let's see, this person speaking to AP, this chief of the migration agency, said Papua New Guinea, they're estimating more than 670 people are under the soil at the moment. Wow. Buried alive. He explained that the initial figure had been based on the assumption that a total of 60 households had been affected, while in fact this number stands at more than 150. Pretty amazing. I didn't know if you guys knew about that. But yeah, landslide. A side of Mount Mungalo, or Mungalo, I don't know which it is, slid off, sheared off in Papua New Guinea. Ursula von der Leyen proposes Fnees for mines and a shield for democracy. The European Commission President's campaign features an unprecedented preventative crackdown on wrongthink. Yeah, Fnees for mines. One of the hallmarks of the EU is that if something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. In fact, it often means the exact opposite. Take, for instance, the idea that Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission president, is running for re-election, and in reality, she's just publicly squabbling with a few other establishment hacks, to be handpicked and confirmed by the establishment itself, not by popular vote. But that hasn't stopped her from cosplaying, that's funny, as an actual Democratic candidate. It's not like she didn't have the opportunity to actually be one rather than just play one. But when her German colleagues asked her to run for an elected EU seat in Germany to establish some democratic credibility, she reportedly declined the inconvenience. But that hasn't stopped her from posting campaign ads on social media, as though she's actually trying to appeal to voters. One such video, she promises that if she's coronated or re-elected, she will defend Europe with a democracy shield. I think I mentioned that last week. The whole idea is to detect disinformation and malign interference, remove content including AI deepfakes, and to make our society more resilient. Nothing about defending Europe's democracy from unelected bureaucrats wielding excessive power, though, I guess? No, not at all. You're not supposed to notice that. Anyway, I was looking to see what the she's talking about for the mind. I don't know if she means literal, though. She's probably talking propaganda, I'm guessing. Anyway, article on RT.com. And one more from there. Israel justifies deadly strike on Rafah. IDF claims to have struck legitimate targets amid reports of at least 35 civilian deaths. What's the death toll over there now anyway? Do we know? Have they hit 40,000 yet that are known? I don't know. Upper 30,000 here. More than 35,000 Palestinians, mostly women and children, have been killed so far amid the IDF operation to destroy the militants. They've destroyed everybody. Everyone. Last time I checked, that's called genocide. But apparently it's okay if they do it, because it is Israel after all, and they can do anything they want, and you can't criticize them. And if you do, you're an anti-Semite. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin to undergo medical procedure. Another one. My guess is in reaction to all those he took. Austin will be temporarily unable to perform his duties, like he was able to before, I guess, as Secretary of Defense during the Friday evening procedure, according to Pentagon statement. Let's see. What kind of procedure will he undergo? The Pentagon described the treatment as scheduled, elective, and minimally invasive follow-up on non-surgical procedure related to previously reported bladder issue. The procedure was set to take place at Walter Reed. It was unrelated to his previous diagnosis of cancer and is expected to have no effect on his cancer prognosis. So, anyway, who knows? So there he is. That's on the SIFT on World, WNG.org, and it's called the SIFT. And let's see. This is actually the first site that I heard about the missionaries in Haiti. So that's why I wanted to report on that. Hundreds stage pro-Palestinian walkout at Harvard graduation. Wow. More than 1,000 students and faculty interrupted the pomp and circumstance of Harvard's Thursday graduation with a noisy exit mid-ceremony. So they walked out. So, yeah. Anyways, that's on WNG.org. And then headlines from the People's Voice. Vatican issues guidelines for apparitions, aliens, and other supernatural phenomena. I think I mentioned this last week. Why has the Vatican started talking about UFOs, aliens, and apparitions? The Vatican has prepared a document which offers guidance on how to discern supernatural phenomena. And you can believe it because it comes from the Vatican. They know what they're talking about. Trump vows to pardon Ross Ulbricht and J6 political prisoners. So there you go. I mentioned that a little while ago. We'll see. We'll see how that goes, if it goes. I think they may be in jail indefinitely unless Trump gets in, and then even if he does, he may still not do what he's talking about here. WHO halts pandemic treaty as millions demand globalists face justice for their crimes. I like how they had the picture of Tedros like he's worried. He's not worried. WEF caught colluding with CIA to infiltrate newsrooms across America. Yep. Who better to get with to do that than the CIA? They've been doing that for decades. Operation Mockingbird, anyone? Another pandemic is absolutely inevitable, says former SAGE scientist Patrick Vallance. It's absolutely inevitable because they've already been ill. Country singer John Rich questions the COVID jab's impact on humanity. John Rich, I follow him on Twitter X, and I think he does a good job. He puts out some good info. Some funny memes and stuff, too. WHO official warns that in Europe is a certainty. So, see, they've already got it scheduled. It's baked in. It's not a question of if, but when, as they always say. 24 governors warn pandemic treaty will allow the WHO to force Americans. 24 governors have urged the Biden administration not to sign the World Homicide Organization pandemic treaty, warning that the fine print will grant Tedros sweeping new powers, including the rights to force evacuations. And I think that Biden would be all for that. RFK Jr., we must drop charges against Julian Assange and erect a statue in his honor. Well, he's a white guy, so obviously that's never going to happen. But he is on the right path here. Why don't we just drop the charges against him and worry about the statue later? But yeah, I get it. So he's not wrong. Not wrong on that. So that's on the People's Voice. Let's see. Information Liberation. Israeli airstrike on Gaza refugee camp in Rafah decapitates small child and kills dozens. Wow. So once again, the murderers are at it again. Looking to see if there's any other Oh, yeah. You guys probably remember this story. A Christian man who destroyed satanic altar in Iowa Capitol takes a plea deal to avoid hate crime charges. Wow. That's too bad, but you could kind of figure that was coming. They're going to get that guy for a hate crime. I mean, after all, you can't hate Baphomet. You can't hate Satan, right? According to the left, and he is their God after all. Let's see. I don't really see any other headlines here that are worth reporting on, but you guys can check it out if you want. InformationLiberation.com. From Daily Crow, how many coincidences until mathematically impossible? May 7th. Oh, it's 11/11. May 7th, so a few days back, fake news about an assassination attempt against Saudi Crown Prince. Then May 13th, Turkish President Erdogan holds emergency meeting following warning of possible military coup. Then May 15th, assassination attempt on Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico. Then May 16th, the very next day, citizen arrested for threatening to assassinate Serbian President Vučić. May 19th, Saudi Arabia's King Salman hospitalized for a second time in 4 weeks. May 19th, helicopter crash involving Iranian President Raisi and Foreign Minister. What do they all have in common? So all this stuff happened just within a few days. But I guess you'd have to be a coincidence theorist to believe it. May 7th, May 13th, May 15th, May 16th, May 19th, and May 19th. All that happened just in the last few weeks. So that is crazy. All right, and then Singularity Hub. Scientists step toward quantum internet with experiment under the streets of Boston. Saw the headline. I thought it would be worth taking a look at. Quantum internet would essentially be unhackable. In the future, sensitive information, financial or national security data, for instance, as opposed to memes and cat pictures, would travel through such a network in parallel to a more traditional internet. I don't know if I buy that. I don't think that's what the quantum internet would be. Of course, building and scaling systems for quantum communications is no easy task. Scientists have been steadily chipping away at the problem for years. A Harvard team has recently took another noteworthy step in the right direction in a paper published this week in Nature. The team says that they've sent entangled photons between two quantum memory nodes 22 miles apart on existing fiber optic infrastructure under the busy streets of Boston, showing that quantum network nodes can be entangled in the real-world environment of a very busy urban area is an important step toward practical networking between quantum computers. So that's kind of interesting. And it's showing where they were there in Boston. One-way quantum network can transmit information is by using entanglement. This is something Anthony Patch talks about all the time, by the way. A quantum property where two particles, likely photons in this case, are linked to a change in the state of one tells us about the state of the other. If the sender and receiver of information each have one of a pair of entangled photons, they can securely transmit data using them. This means quantum communications will rely on generating enormous numbers of entangled protons and reliably sending them to far-off destinations. Scientists have sent entangled particles long distances over fiber optic cables before, but to make a quantum internet work, particles will need to travel hundreds or thousands of miles. Because cables tend to absorb photons over such distances, the information will be lost unless it can be periodically refreshed. Enter quantum repeaters. So yeah, I think that the distance wouldn't matter. That's what Einstein calls spooky action at a distance, right? Quantum mechanics. So yeah, that's something that Anthony talks about a lot, though, actually. So AnthonyPatch.com, in my opinion, it's a good answer to that one. But this is on Singularity Hub. It's where this article is. Now, we were talking about fast food earlier. I found this article and thought it was worth sharing. Check out these charts showing how much fast food prices have jumped since 2019. So, and then, not that you guys are even eating fast food, but it is a good indicator of our economy. So let's look at it from that standpoint, not so much putting out fast food information here. But it is interesting. Let's just see how different things are. It's crazy to think how much better we had it just 5 short years ago. You could get a $1.29 McChicken, a $1.69 5-layer burrito from Taco Bell, and 8 nuggets at Chick-fil-A for $3.05. We had it made. What's interesting is I'm talking about all these things and saying these things, and now it'll be interesting to see how many ads we see for McDonald's, Taco Bell, Chick-fil-A, and whoever else I mentioned in this article. We're going to start seeing those ads, so I apologize if you guys start seeing those ads based on this one article. If you do, let me know. If you start seeing those ads, tell me. Since 2019, however, those prices have essentially doubled, and that's not only outrageous, it's depressing. Let's check the numbers, shall we? Price hikes at 6 popular fast food chains. 21.5% inflation over 5 years. Outrageous, though we did spend a whole heck of a lot of money during the whole pandemic thing. What's more outrageous, however, is the way fast food prices have risen during the same period, significantly more than that number than that 21.5% number. I'll tell you how much. Here's the numbers. McDonald's, okay? Medium French fries at the end of 2019 was $1.79. And then the middle of this year, it's $4.19. That's only an increase of 134%. Wow. So forget 21%, it's 134% on French fries. McChicken went from $1.29 to $3.89 now. That's an increase of 201%. Big Mac went from $3.99 to $7.49. I'm surprised by this because I don't buy this garbage, but and then I know you guys probably don't either, but it's worth looking at. I think it is. 87% increase. A 10-piece McNugget used to be $4.49, is now $7.58, and a $1 cheeseburger is now $3.15. A 215% increase. Man. So that's McDonald's. Taco Bell, kind of the same stuff. And then Chick-fil-A, similar but not quite as bad. Deluxe chicken sandwich went from $3.65 to $6.55, for instance. And then we got Burger King is mentioned in In-N-Out and Jack in the Box. It seriously hurts my brain to see these numbers. I'm amazed, however, that through all of this inflation, Jack in the Box has stood strong on that 2 tacos for 99-cent meal. Oh yeah, right here. So it stayed the same. So that's probably what they would call in the business world as a loss leader. Just get people in the door and they'll spend money on other stuff. That's my 2 cents worth, or 99 cents worth. So anyway, that was kind of interesting. That's on notthebee.com. But yeah, you can just see that. Forget the 20-some percent. It's many dozens of percent higher on certain items, and then 200% on some things too. So yeah, that's where we are. Thank you, Bidenomics. Consumers are so demoralized by inflation and high rates that they've given up on saving for the American dream and are spending money instead. That's probably true. An economist offered an explanation for a paradox that has emerged in recent data showing that spending has remained robust even as consumers report feeling pessimistic. Director of University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Survey told CNBC she thinks Americans have abandoned plans to save money as they see their financial goals look less attainable and are spending money instead. So that could be true. I don't know. So people have given up on the American dream, owning their own home or whatever. So, to be sure, inflation has come down sharply from the 4-decade high 9% rate in mid-2022 to the 3.4% last month. That means prices are going up less quickly rather than returning to pre-pandemic levels. And the cumulative sticker shock over the last few years still weighs on sentiment. Yeah, that it does. So yeah, let me know if you guys are seeing huge price increases. I know you're at the grocery store, but just for other things too. So this article was on Yahoo Finance, actually, from Fortune. The internet is disappearing. I've noticed this too. I don't know if you guys have. The internet is disappearing, study says. Almost 40% of web pages from 2013 no longer exist. Internet is disappearing. Yeah, Google is taking over too, by the way. A new study has suggested as web pages and online content is lost. Part of that too is the economy. I mean, because people have to pay for web services, they have to pay for hosting, and that's just money you'll never see unless you have advertising on your website that can help bring in some revenue. But it's just constant outflow to have a website. Generally, it's you might be able to write off some of the expense that you have for it, but in general, it's kind of a loss leader in a way. Most people don't make money with their websites. Not really. The internet is disappearing, and new studies suggested as web pages and online content is lost. The web is often thought of as a place where content lasts forever. But I would say that it is as far as the social media platforms go, which is why you should never share anything on social media that you don't want to come back to haunt you in many years from now, if we're still here. So it says, but vast swaths of it are being lost as pages are deleted or moved, according to new research. Of the pages that existed in 2013, for instance, 38% are now lost. Even newer pages are disappearing. 8% of pages that existed in 2023 are no longer available. Wow. Those pages tend to disappear when they are deleted or moved. That happens on otherwise functional websites. The study from the Pew Research Center indicated, rather than happening when whole websites disappear. The effect means that vast amounts of news and important reference content are disappearing. Some 23% of news pages include at least one broken link, and 21% of government websites said, and 54% of Wikipedia pages include a link in their references that no longer exist. Much the same effect is happening on social media. A fifth of tweets disappear from the site within months of being posted. Well, yeah, and then also you have censorship, though, too. The study was completed by gathering a random sample of almost 1 million web pages taken from Common Crawl, a service that archives part of the internet. Researchers then looked to see whether those pages continued to exist between 2013 and 2023. It found that 25% of all pages collected between 2013 and 2023 were no longer available. Of those, 16% of the pages came from a website that continues to exist, while 9% were located on websites that don't exist anymore either. Wow. So that's on independent. I build websites. I thought that was kind of interesting. I think that's probably true. Yeah, because all the true stuff got taken down, Matt said. Yep, I think that's part of it. And we are definitely seeing that. A rewriting of history. The 1984 reality is definitely upon us. By month's end, the WHO seeks to pass Orwellian pandemic treaty to implement algorithmic surveillance and control systems worldwide. This is on Natural News. World Homicide Organization. Body of experts are set to convene in Geneva at their 77th World Health Assembly from May 27th, starting tomorrow, to June 1. At the assembly, whose member countries will cast their votes on the final version of the agency's pandemic agreement. This agreement will give the beleaguered agency more power over sovereign nations, including the power to order targeted lockdowns and mitigation measures. The agreement will allow a global body of experts to use surveillance tools and implement broader mandates for so-called and other countermeasures. Right now, the WHO is developing a standardized algorithm to quantify airborne transmission risk to dictate public policies on human interactions. It says WHO's psychotic ARIA tool, A-R-I-A tool, doubles down on germophobia, analyzes aerosols, and micromanages human activity. Yes, but I bet they don't analyze what's coming down in the geoengineering fallout, will they? Yeah, so. But we all know about the what the WHO's planning, so I don't know if you guys have seen this article, but feel free to check it out. Naturalnews.com, good website. Mike Adams is doing good work. Thought this was kind of funny. Revolver.news. Should Trump read Ashley Biden's diary aloud during the first debate? Why, yes, I think he should. Will he? No, of course not. But I think he should. Says Cat Turd did a tweet. Trump should bring a copy and read Ashley's diary at the first debate. This guy's got a lot of followers, so maybe Trump will see that. I don't know. The big debate between Trump and Biden is on the horizon. But who knows what fireworks will unfold. But one thing is for certain, Trump is going to bring his A game full force, especially considering everything he's endured. Raids, sham indictments, character assassination, all courtesy of the evil Biden regime. Many believe no topic should be off limits, especially given the new political horror show we're living in, reminiscent of something out of North Korea or Iran, thanks to the tyrannical Biden regime's weaponization of intelligence, education, religion, medicine, and our judicial system. So keeping that in mind, here's the million-dollar question. Should Trump stride onto that debate stage, clutching a copy of Ashley Biden's diary, and read it aloud for the country to hear? Even if he tries that, they'll cut away to commercial and they'll never let it air. They're never going to let that air on CNN or wherever. Yeah, here. Of course, let's see, it says it would dominate the top story in every major media outlet. CNN would probably whip up a molester countdown graphic to display on the screen 24/7. I don't know. I don't think so, unless they really want to get rid of Biden, which they haven't convinced me that that's in the cards yet. A lot of people talking about that, but we'll see. We'll see. So anyway, yeah, pretty interesting. Will he do that? I doubt it. But it will be interesting when it happens, if it happens. It's on revolver.news. LeoHoman.com. NATO has become the military wing of a globalist power structure that promotes the self-destruction of all nations in a depopulated world. One of NATO's primary missions is to spread instability throughout the world using the military-industrial complex to bully and intimidate countries non-compliant with a militant, anti-family, anti-God agenda flowing out of Western capitals and promoted by Western media. That sums it up pretty nicely. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Welcome to NATO. And this is their religion right here. The multicolored flag. All right, Wine Press News. Read some of the headlines here. De-dollarization. Association of Southeast Asian Nations pushes to dump U.S. dollar trades in local currencies. So this isn't even BRICS. This is something else. And yet another major blow to U.S. dollar hegemony. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations is now formally ditched the dollar in trade in favor of their local currencies. Says the ASEAN comprises of 10 different Asian nations. Includes Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam, with Australia and New Zealand also working closely with this association via new free trade agreement pact established in November 2022. Subtract Australia and New Zealand, and ASEAN affects over 600 million people and is one of the world's largest economies. That might be a problem for the U.S. dollar, which, fine with me, really. So there they are. There's the Southeast Asia map. So yeah, de-dollarization. So therefore, all those countries will probably be at war with the U.S. very soon. BRICS discusses accepting the unit, a new decentralized monetary system backed by gold and local currencies. The integrity of the unit ecosystem is preserved by blockchain-based node synchronization and elimination of the need to rebalance gold holdings between unit nodes, thus minimizing costs and risks. The BRICS Plus financial bloc may accept a new decentralized money system as early as 2025, which could be a game changer for the world financial system. They're just calling it the unit. Creators behind UNIT boasts of 4 main things it provides that other currencies cannot. UNIT offers a political and apolitical form of money that is not influenced by any political agenda, ensuring stability and neutrality. UNIT can be used as a currency for payments via any open payment and clearing system, providing flexibility and convenience. UNIT can be freely bought, sold, and used as a currency worldwide, enabling seamless cross-border transactions. UNIT ecosystem operates on a decentralized network, ensuring transparency and security for all transactions. So, interesting. So that's what the BRICS nations are talking about using. California considers ditching gas tax and instead track every mile you drive. Program will start July 1st and run for 6 months. No, it'll start July 1st and run forever, just like every other tax does. When do they ever take away a tax? They institute a tax. Do they ever remove them? Never. And it says ditching the gas tax instead of a track, and instead track every mile. I predict they do both. In an attempt to recoup the lost revenue from the state's gas tax, and also everyone leaving, California is now piloting a new program called the California Road Charge, which taxes the driver by the mile instead. The program is currently offering $400 for volunteers to install a tracking device in their vehicle or provide a number of pictures logging the journey. This is an additional tracking device beyond the one they've already got installed in their car that they don't know about, that hasn't been switched on yet. So that's kind of interesting, isn't it? The project being overseen by the California Department of Transportation says it's reporting it as a necessary evil. So yeah, it's evil, all right. I don't think it's necessary, but they do. But that's what tyrannies tend to do. That's what tyrants tend to do. Bipartisan Congress votes to ban the Federal Reserve from launching a CBDC. This week, the U.S. House of Representatives voted to prevent the Federal Reserve from launching a digital dollar and central bank digital currency. The CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act, passed in a bipartisan vote of 216 to 192. 213 Republicans in favor, 3 Democrats voted for the bill, 192 opposed it. So the Democrats wanted the central bank digital currency. They're all for it. The bill, which still must face a vote in the Senate, amends the Federal Reserve Act of 1913 to prohibit Federal Reserve banks from offering certain products or services directly to an individual, or to prohibit the use of central bank digital currency for monetary policy and for other purposes. The Republican-backed bill's debate was sparsely attended. Republican supporters spoke about the potential for the abuse of a central bank digital currency, while Democrats concentrated on innovation and the dollar's international competitiveness and the bill's poor drafting. We live in a world where the government can abuse the tools it has, and in fact always does. So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. We'll see how far it gets. Wine Press News again. Microsoft introduces AI recall tool. I mentioned this earlier. That records everything you do on your computer. Everything is quite a lot. It records everything you do with your PC, including your apps, movies, documents, emails, browsing history, browser tabs, and more. And then probably will be analyzed by AI to determine what to do with you, is my guess. Microsoft recently unveiled a new AI tool. There's a lot of people online concerned about what this means for their privacy and safety. The AI tool called Recall, that will become available to some Windows 11 users. Records the user's screen and allows them to go back in time and see what it is that they were doing. Microsoft claims that the data is stored locally and therefore protected. But many are not convinced. Of course not. Otherwise, why would they come up with that tool? According to Windows Latest, which I guess is a website, with Recall, Microsoft says it can turn your previous actions into searchable snapshots, allowing you to search and interact with your past actions. Recall runs in the background and relies on the NPU chip to record your screen. Well, last time I checked, they already had that. It's called a screen recorder. I use it myself for certain things, but it's not owned by Microsoft. So, yes, I mean, you can already record stuff on your screen. So here's a video about it. Working with Tandem in Microsoft's new AI Copilot feature, Recall can do the following. So I turned that off, by the way. If you have Recall, I don't have anything that's Windows 11, but if you have Recall, or if you have if you have Copilot, you want to turn that off because that's Microsoft Copilot, which I've seen as a sponsor on things now too. So they're really pushing this Microsoft Copilot nonsense. Recall runs in the background all the time. It records everything you do with your PC, including your apps, movies, documents, emails, browsing history, browser tabs, and more. However, Microsoft will not record DRM-protected content, passwords, private browsing, or other sensitive information, so this says. Recall can understand your screen and then offer contextual suggestions. Recall is powered by an NPU chip and stores the data in your local storage. Yes, and probably also in the cloud, quote unquote. That's just a guess, but that's usually how these things work, in my experience. So I think that's probably bad news. Like they have Schwarzenegger here, Total Recall. Yeah. Author commentary. I can't wait for Microsoft's guarantees of encryption and local storage to age like spoiled curdled milk. Definitely do not trust that at all. For sure. This is just some Orwellian stuff right here, but it's ironic considering that the government and telecommunications companies have been spying and collecting all of our data for decades now and sells it regularly with no recourse, and the people have come to tolerate it and accept it as a new way of life. I do not doubt for a moment this too will be a valuable asset for the NSA and CISA. Use older computers that do not come with this feature. Perhaps consider a Linux if you can afford to convert. Only the latest tech can support Recall because the AI requires new fancy up-to-date drivers and hardware to work sufficiently. So there you go. That's true. So if you can use an older computer, then you don't have to worry about it. So at least as far as that goes. Anyway, just wanted to bring it to your attention. Visa introduces the one card to rule them all. One card connected to multiple banks replaces numbers with digital ID verification. AI will learn purchases. But some things are uniquely you. Your face, your fingerprint, your biometrics are yours and yours alone. And they're the key to the next generation of security and payments, Visa says. Yes. So they claim. Earlier this month, international financing giant Visa announced they will be offering a service that allows customers to connect a number of banks and money accounts in just a singular card. Press release that they published last week, Visa Flexible Credential, was announced. touted as a new technology that lets users give their clients the ability to access different funding sources on an existing payment card. Normally, each account requires its own individual card, but now no longer will Visa customers need to carry around a small stack of plastic. Yeah, because that's so inconvenient. It's much better to have it built right into your body. Visa boasts it will enable one card to rule them all, virtual or otherwise, they state. Yes, and hopefully the Lord of the Rings people will sue them into oblivion for using the one ring to rule them all moniker. So yeah, this is what Visa's up to. The thing is, card numbers don't prove that you're you. They just prove that someone somewhere possesses a string of numbers. But some things are uniquely you. Your face, your fingerprint, your biometrics are yours and yours alone. And they're the key to the next generation of security in payments. So you can see where it's headed. Mark of the beast, anyone? Scan your arm or your forehead to make sure you can make that payment. Who knows? So yeah, this is on Wine Press News. And then let's see. Gateway Pundit article. I found this is the other one on the murdered American couple here in Haiti. So there's more here about that if you want to take a look. Gateway Pundit. I'll link to this article in my Substack post. Kate Middleton may not appear in public for the rest of the year and is being surrounded by family amid cancer diagnosis. So, kind of interesting. We've been talking about the royal family, seems like quite a bit lately, at least as far as her a little bit. Maybe a month or so ago when all this broke, we talked about this some. And then, of course, the last couple weeks, we've been talking about Charles a lot. Sources close to the royal family have disclosed that Princess Kate, the beloved Princess of Wales, may remain out of the public eye for the rest of the year as she focuses on her recovery, surrounded by her family. Princess of Wales has not been seen in public since January, fueling a whirlwind of rumors. These range from allegations of a severe health crisis being downplayed to unfounded gossip about marital strife. Yeah, who knows? So, and then this is the picture that was apparently photoshopped badly. But you got to know what you're looking for here in these circle things. In April, a move described as rushed by palace insiders due to leaks in the press, Princess Kate released a heartfelt video acknowledging her cancer diagnosis and detailing her ongoing treatment. And then there was a lot of controversy about that video. The slats are uneven in her shirt and all this different stuff. We went through that about a month or two ago, whenever that was. We talked about all that stuff before. I think that it's real as far as I think that she really does have a health issue, probably. And note what happened to one of the previous princesses of Wales. They kind of got rid of her. And the same situation may be in store for Princess Kate. We don't know. But I guess time will tell. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. And there's another one on her in just a second here, so we can get to it. So here's the other Kate article I mentioned. Days after creepy Charles portrait was unveiled, a horrible painting depicting Princess Kate is published in a magazine, generating public outrage. So this is the third grader painting that they came up with. This is not quite as evil as Charles's painting, but again, it looks like someone from, I won't say third grade, I don't want to insult third graders. It looks like someone who was only somewhat talented in high school painted this. So a very, I'd say, below average painter painted this. Not that I'm a painter, I'm just saying it just looks bad. So this is the official Princess Kate of Wales portrait. Anyway. Painted by artist Hannah User. The Princess of Wales' new look is reportedly not an official portrait and was revealed in the latest issue of Tatler magazine. Okay, so it says it's not an official portrait. So that's probably good news. Says the portrait shows Middleton in a white gown. Artist told the outlet that she spent a lot of time looking at her pictures, watching her videos. Okay, so she didn't even sit for her. It's not official. Royal fans and watchers were horrified, saying it does not resemble the princess. And yet, this picture does resemble King Charles. So, anyway, so that was fairly interesting. They've got this really bad painting of yet another royal family member. Small Wisconsin town under review by the feds after eliminating electronic voting machines, how dare they, and opting for paper ballots. Small town in Wisconsin is currently under federal review after making a decision to eliminate electronic voting machines and replace them with paper ballots. It's because it's harder to have massive amounts of fraud with paper ballots, isn't it? So therefore, you better run these people out of town. In June 2023, board members of the town of Thornapple in Rusk County, Wisconsin, decided to stop using electronic voting machines for elections and instead rely entirely on hand counting ballots. Novel idea, huh? The decision by board members has since caught the attention of the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. So they're racist, obviously. Clearly. The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reported that Suzanne Pinnow, who serves as Thornapple's chief election official, received a letter from the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division seeking information about why the town decided to get rid of electronic machines and how the township is helping to accommodate disabled voters in the process. Rural Wisconsin communities' decision to eliminate electronic voting machines has attracted the attention of federal investigators who are questioning how voters with disabilities cast ballots in the town of fewer than 1,000 people. So yes, how could they possibly count all those ballots? Pretty funny. The vote by a small board overseeing the town, population 711, to rely solely on hand counting paper ballots took place last year and caught the eye of state and federal officials after the April presidential primary election, when advocates for voters with disabilities rang alarm bells. So you see, it's harder to cheat when you have paper ballots. Not that you can't still cheat, of course, it still can be, but not quite as heavily manipulated as electronic voting. Anyway, pretty funny. If you're a tiny Rusk County township of 711 people and you try making your elections transparently clean and fair with the one voter, one vote paper ballot method, the Biden regime will threaten to come down on you like a ton of rage. Yep, that's what they'll do. All right, let's see. ActivistPost.com. The WHO fails to get an agreement on the text of the pandemic treaty, but it's not over yet. The 9th meeting of the international negotiating body has failed to yield an agreement ahead of this week's 77th World Health Assembly. However, delegates were still optimistic yesterday that an agreement on a pandemic accord would eventually be reached. Oh, I'm sure they will too. I'm sure they'll reach their agreement. After all, why would all those people be meeting if they weren't going to come to some sort of an agreement? Although it seems we might have been given a temporary respite, the fight to defeat the World Health Organization's WHO pandemic plans is not over yet. Besides the pandemic accord, there's also the WHO's proposed amendments to the international health regulations. Dr. Meryl Nass shares a white paper explaining why developing countries should vote to defeat the WHO's proposals and why people of goodwill everywhere should be delighted if both of the WHO's proposals fail. I know I will be delighted, but I don't really expect that it will fail. Just looking at it as a realist. How about you guys? Anyway, this is on activistpost.com. And yeah, that's all happening this week. So by next week, by the show that we do next week, I should be able to have more information for you guys on that. But look for it to be passed. I mean, this might just be all smoke and mirrors, and they're all in bed with each other anyway, and most likely it will get passed with flying colors, as they say. Smart dust biosensors and chemtrail dispersal. So this is a video I wanted to play. Thought it was an important one, and actually there's two here. So I'm going to play these two, and they're both talking about geoengineering to some degree as well. So I think it's important, and they do kind of go together. So let's check these out. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good report, and looks like Kelly mentioned in chat the same thing I was going to mention, and that is Into Thin Air. Into Thin Air. I think he's available on X as well, if you happen to be on Twitter X. But I found him on YouTube, and he does seem to be putting out some really good videos, and he does have some explanations on this whole Antarctica weird anomaly that you may have seen or heard about. And he's got some pretty good working hypotheses on those, and indeed they are still appearing on Venture Sky. So feel free to check out his videos. It's Into Thin Air on YouTube, and it's number 2, Into Thin Air. So yeah, I'll link to his channel in the Substack post, but you guys can find it on YouTube and also on Twitter X if you happen to be on there. Pretty good stuff. So anyway, have a look at that, and then let's see, on InfoWars we've got Joe Biden to take victory lap at White House when Trump verdict announced, which we talked about this earlier, and I think that's exactly what will be going on. It says Chase lays out how Biden will wade into the political fray by addressing Trump's New York trial once a verdict is delivered, claiming doing so will make him appear less political. The fix is in. I think so too. I think the just the fact that he's going to come out and comment at all on it, I think the fix is in, because why would he comment if Trump is, quote, innocent? So I don't know. So we'll see where all that goes, and then the globalist panic button gets pummeled. And this is also another video I have, but we'll play this at the end of the broadcast. I think it's worth watching as well. So yeah, I'm trying to see what's going on in chat here. Him and Dutch Sense are connecting now. Kelly says, as far as Into Thin Air, okay, good. Yeah, I saw him on. I've actually seen him. The guy's name is something simple, like Brian Smith, I think. And he's been on Harrison Smith's show on InfoWars, and he seemed like he really knows his stuff. So yeah, I mean, and Dutch Sense is great, although he's not putting out very many videos right now. So we'll see. It says Into Thin Air has been discussing the strange anomaly in the Atlantic Ocean way down south of Africa. It keeps happening. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. And it's showing up on VentureSky.com, which is a website that I've shown here on this broadcast quite a few times. And then Matt's saying Antarctica, question mark. Doug's triggered the flat earthers. My take on Antarctic an abnormality is a test run for the tidal wave nukes soon to be deployed. I don't know. It could be. It could be. He's got his own, as I said, working hypothesis as to what that's about, and that it's probably not actually generating those waves, but who knows? It's very possible. So we'll watch this globalist panic button gets pummeled. We'll watch that video as we exit tonight. So I'll hold off on and showing another video right away. Breaking: trans activist arrested after stabbing spree. It's because these people are mentally deranged. We'll just say it. They are mentally deranged. And they would, years ago, have been locked up in a mental health facility, but those don't exist anymore because they've all been opened up, and those people are now running everything. 6 people stabbed in separate attacks by suspect who identifies as transgender woman. So it's a guy with a knife. A man has been taken into custody. Uh-oh, you've already misgendered him. after 6 people, including 4 girls at a movie theater, were stabbed in separate attacks. Police said suspect Jared Ravisa entered an AMC multiplex without paying. He absconded from the movie ticket price on Saturday evening and suddenly attacked 4 girls ages 9 to 17 without saying anything and without any warning, and then fled. He just ran in and started stabbing people. Without saying anything, without any warning, he suddenly attacked and stabbed the 4 young females. The attack appeared to be unprovoked. After the attack, the man ran out of the theater and left in a vehicle. The girls suffered non-life-threatening injuries and were taken to hospitals. AMC employees said the suspect was wearing an oversized trench coat, sunglasses, and a long blonde wig. These people are absolutely insane. And keep in mind again, I'm just a few miles from where the Nashville shooting happened just over a year ago. So yes, they are insane. Anyway, not good. So that's on InfoWars as well. VaccineImpact.com, God's power to perform miracles versus Satan's power to practice magic and sorcery. Yeah. And another word for sorcery is, say it with me, pharmakia, right? Let's see, another article on Vaccine Impact. The banking crisis is accelerating in big tech banks. 10 million Americans cannot withdraw their funds on one financial technology app. Okay. America, behold the result of your faith in AI technology, the Boeing example of failure. The reign of the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency is rapidly coming to an end. Is the death of the Iranian president related? Yeah, it could be. And it could be that all of those things that we talked about back here, the coincidences right here that I mentioned in all these things in May that have happened, it could be that those are related somehow to the whole BRICS thing and the reign of the dollar coming to an end. It's very possible. Anyway, those are articles on vaccineimpact.com. And then GeoWatch for this week, show number 459. Millions of Americans brace for intense tornadoes during Memorial Day weekend from Fox News. We had some bad storms here where I am today. No tornadoes, but tons of rain. And then it was just like somebody switched it off. So, yeah. Hefty late-season prairies snow may approach an all-time record from the Weather Network. Scorching heat wave to roast Texas Gulf Coast over Memorial Day weekend from Reuters. Giant hail is the weather threat keeping insurers up at night from Bloomberg. Tornadoes, record snow, record heat, and giant hail all in late May. Does this combination of catastrophes make sense? It does when climate intervention operations are considered. How much more interference and damage can the planet's life support system sustain before they completely collapse? So this week's show, we did not do any edits. So the one here on the page, the YouTube one, is the same as the one on Spotify and the one on Rumble and BitChute. So no changes in the show this week. So yeah, make sure you're on the email newsletter list. Dane doesn't ask me to promote the show. I just feel so inclined. I feel like he's doing really good work, and there's not too many voices out there like his as far as putting out this type of information. So definitely be on the email newsletter list. You can click on it right here. Email sign up on GeoWatch, geoengineeringwatch.org. Then here is the scheduled weather for this week. We have, a weird zigzag in the east and central, east and southeast, I guess. And everybody else is above normal. We're right on the near normal. The word normal is like literally right on my house. I'm not normal. I thought that was funny. But yeah, this is the this whole big gray area here, they're saying near normal. But like I said last week, I don't think there's normal anymore. I don't think that exists. President Raisi's death, and I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry. I'm not really trying to mispronounce his name. I don't know if it's Raisi or Raisi. President's death, an accident or a plot, and does it even matter? Israel 365 News is asking. No, they were probably pretty happy when this guy died, I'm guessing. I wasn't. I'm just saying I would imagine that Israel 365 News probably was, just to guess. While world leaders expressed condolences to Iran over the death of their president, the Islamic regime has called for 5 days of mourning. Neither I nor millions of Iranians are shedding a tear or mourning in any way. So this was written by who? Her, maybe. Okay, she's an Iranian American. Okay, so she's all about it. She's okay with him dying. Which, I don't know. I don't know anything about the guy. So here's what she's saying. Iranians are celebrating boldly across social media and in public with fireworks, drinking and dancing, and wishing that these criminals with blood on their hands of countless Iranians, Israelis, and others will burn in hell. So that's what this woman is saying here. In addition to Raisi, those who died on his fateful helicopter were Iran's foreign minister, and it mentions their names, and they're almost unpronounceable, and the governor of East Azerbaijan. Wow. They were all leaders in the Islamic terrorist regime that has caused countless suffering. As much as there is reason for celebration, in the big picture, not only will Raisi's death not change anything automatically, but it may even bring harsher crackdowns on Iranians and embolden the Islamic regime's terror proxies as a power struggle in Iran becomes more public. The regime may crack down on dissent, of which there has been much, especially since his death. So, and then she talks about her story here. So I'm not sure if this is anything you would be interested in looking at, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. And it's not even written from the Jewish perspective on this website, which is a bit surprising, actually. But that might be why they included it on this website. Anyway, that was the last of the articles I had for you guys tonight, I think. So yeah, be on the Substack list if you're not already. Definitely join that. It's totally free. No commitment to do anything. You don't even have to stay on the list if you don't want to, but if you want to stay in touch with what I'm doing, it's probably the best way to do it. Either that or join the band group or both. Either one. Totally free. And Miss Emily has posted the band link there in the chats on both Rumble and YouTube. So have a look at that. And then it's also in the description box. So feel free to join the band group if you want to. And like I said before, lots of cool kids are doing it. So we appreciate that. And as far as the Substack, though, what I'll do is send out the Tuesday the Tuesday broadcast on Substack that we'll send all the links out, just like we did last week. And just take a look at that. Take a look at that. Let's look at last week's show here. This is the show from last week where we talked about the crazy king, soon to be Antichrist, in my opinion, and CERN. We covered quite a bit of that type of thing last week. And so what I did was on Tuesday last week, I sent out the YouTube link that had this show. So the Sunday night live show from last week, I rebroadcast it Tuesday. That's an edited version because I have to go through and take out all the, quote, medical misinformation that YouTube does not like. Otherwise, I'll get a strike. And I found out that it's okay if other people say that stuff. It's okay if some people say the things that I say, and they can get away with it. They can get by with it, but I can't on my channel, who has almost no viewers and listeners. No disrespect intended to you guys. I mean, number-wise, I have hardly anybody. And I get censored like crazy, and people with millions of followers can do whatever the heck they want and say anything they want. So it's a bit strange, but I found a way around it. So I guess it's working out okay at the moment. So it's good. But anyway, feel free to check this out. This has all the links and everything on it. This is kind of what the article links look like. I just go through and link to all of the things that I talked about last week. So this is all the stuff I covered last week. And then embedded videos and things like that as well. So it's all there. If you guys want to join the list, you'll get the final email for this week's show. For tonight's show will show up on Tuesday in your inbox, and we'll do a YouTube premiere on this show Tuesday at some point when I get the medical misinformation all edited out. So feel free to do that. Check into Substack if you're not already on that list, and then this is the Diamond Report on Twitter as well. So you're welcome to follow along there. Happy to have you, and let me know what you guys are looking at as far as the things you're studying, because you're not controlled opposition. Doug, Emily says, yes, I'm not. No one controls me. I don't even control myself. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, thanks, Matt, for saying that the show is great. Appreciate that very much. And I'm trying to see what else is happening in chat. Marty says each one of us counts for 100,000 people. Okay, good. So we have, let's see, at least what? What's the number? 2.6 million people watching right now. Something like that. Because you're not controlled opposition, brother. Selling vax detox aerobic videos. The truth is with you, sir. Much love and appreciation and prayers for you. Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate that. That's really nice. Yeah, you know what? And you know, a friend of mine on Facebook we've been trading messages this week, and it really kind of hit home for me that I do not want to advertise anything, because we have some of these people out here, and I won't mention names, but you guys know who they are. Pretty much any show you watch has constant flow of advertising, and it seems like all that stuff's increasing, and I get it to a degree because, you know, prices and costs for things, doing things online does go up. It goes up all the time. And I've managed to make it work though with this show, so I'm not subjecting you guys to a bunch of advertising. So you're not being told to buy gold and silver, you're not being told to, you know, have, you know, buy water filters or what's all the other things? You know, TV channels, stuff like that. That's being promoted now, and I just think it really rubs me the wrong way at this point. So I'm gonna kind of buck the system and go the opposite way and not say anything about anything anymore as far as products and things like that. I decided I'm not even gonna push my own store anymore. I figured I'm gonna put it out there. You guys know it's there. If you want to buy something, feel free to do that. Otherwise, you know, it's totally up to you. If you guys want to support what I'm doing, I really appreciate it, but you don't have to. I mean, I'm here. I'm going to do this and put this show out. And for the people who want to watch, then thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And for those handful of people who have supported what I'm doing through Substack and through the store and stuff like that, it's really, really important to me that you guys did that. And it really means a lot. It really does. So you guys are really great. I really appreciate that, and just know that it's not about money or any of that kind of stuff for me. I just want to get the word out and continue to talk about Jesus and let you guys know why I'm even doing the show, and I'm trying to constantly remind myself and you guys about that, and that is that we're seeing it in the headlines. We're seeing it all play out in the news, in the real news, in the truth, and that is that the end times are upon us. We are there now. And I think we're seeing that play out. And I think that this show is really, that's the main idea behind this show, is showing that we are in the end times by talking about a lot of the stuff that we talk about. And I'm trying to do it with some sort of, you know, a little bit of humor, and just because it's so ridiculous, the stuff that we have to even report on and talk about at this point. It's gotten really crazy, and I do fully intend to keep reporting on it, and I fully also imagine that it will continue to get crazier and crazier as we go. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Feel free to leave a comment on, not really this video because I have to delete this video as soon as I'm done, but feel free to leave a comment on any of the videos on my platforms. I will see them. I don't generally censor those comments, so you can disagree with what I'm saying and the timeline that I've put forth and who I think is the AC and all this stuff. You guys can totally disagree. I don't care. It's fine with me. I'm just telling you what I think. And I'm totally happy to be wrong. And I've been wrong many, many times in my life. I'm sure you guys have been too. So anyway, feel free to do that. Leave comments on videos on Rumble and BitChute and Brighteon and Facebook even. And let's see, what else? The main thing is keep the show, keep me in your prayers if you would. I ask humbly. And I will do that for you guys as well. And if you want to stay in touch with what I'm doing, the best way to do that is through Substack and through Band. So again, feel free to do that. Stay in touch. And I've got a couple videos here we can watch on the way out. So we want to watch the globalist panic button gets pummeled. I want to watch that one yet. And then I may even have another shorter video after that as well. So we'll wrap it up for tonight. I know it's a little bit earlier than normal, but it's still kind of late my time, and it is a holiday weekend after all. So I don't know how many of you guys are off tomorrow, but some of you probably are. So anyway, blessings to you all. I hope you guys have a really great week coming up, and we'll come back and do another report. I would say if not before next Sunday, then we'll plan on next Sunday for sure. So Sunday nights are working out okay for me at the moment, so we'll continue on. I decided I don't think I'm going to change the time on the broadcast right at this moment. I think what I'll do is I will probably try and keep this to a little bit shorter show, less than 3 hours, and from here on out, if possible, I'll just try and do an extra show here and there to sort of alleviate and help some of the people who want to take part who can't in a situation where it's late like this. Because by the time I start this show at 10 o'clock Central Time, it's 11 Eastern Time. So that means my friends on the Eastern Time Zone can't really join in much, or if they do, it's really, really late. So anyway, blessings to you guys. Hope you have a really great week, and we'll see you again next week. We'll be back 10 o'clock Central Time on, what is that, January. What is that? I think it's June. Yeah, June the 2nd, June 2. So we'll get back together then. Blessings to you all. Have a really great night.
What a week in the madhouse. World Economic Forum leader and archetypal Bond villain Klaus Schwab has said he's stepping down off his throne, presumably for a retirement condo on the Lake of Fire, and it has us all asking which demonic entity will fill his Wehrmacht boots. War criminal Tony Blair certainly seems to have racked up enough skeletons for the job, and Jacinda Ardern won herself plenty of brownie shirt points with her restrictions and inhumane mandates, but it could always be someone from left field. Satan himself may be bored of ruling from the shadows and fancies a bit of limelight, who knows. Talking of Satan, Benjamin Netanyahu has had an international criminal court arrest warrant issued against him. Oh yeah, and his Poundland sidekick Yoav Gallant for war crimes committed in Gaza. Of course, it means absolutely nothing, because the Israeli government see themselves as above international law because, well, they always have been. And whenever anyone has ever dared to attempt to hold them to account at the UN, their little lapdog, USA, comes along to veto and throw any justice out the window while shouting anti-Semitism. So while the arrest warrant is meaningless, it has shown up who is on the payroll, as nearly all Western leaders, particularly those inside the lapdog USA, jumped to rubbish the idea of Netanyahu being a war criminal and threaten to place sanctions against the International Criminal Court and its officials. The USA and Israel's special relationship is the most one-sided relationship in history. The USA hands over whatever Israel wants and Israel takes it, giving nothing in return. Well, apart from bribing corrupt and contemptible traitor politicians, so they'll give even more of what Israel wants. And Netanyahu is a war criminal, of course, and it's not something he became since October. He's a deeply corrupt and evil man who commits war crimes as an act of government policy. The term mowing the lawn doesn't mean the same to him as it does to you. But scroll through the tweets of nearly all US politicians, Republicans or Democrats, the illusion of choice, and you'll see almost the same tweet word for word. I strongly condemn the ICC. I strongly reject the ICC. You don't strongly do anything, mate. You're a dog on a lead. It's almost like Israel wrote these condemnation tweets themselves. In fact, they probably did, let's be honest. And they wouldn't even need the logins because they're pretty good at hacking. They've hacked the White House before, of course, because that's what precious allies do. Netanyahu was quoted as saying that arresting him now would be like arresting George W. Bush for 9/11. Sorry, Bibi, that's not the zinger you think it is. The president of Iran, Ibrahim Raisi, he's died in a helicopter crash with much joy and celebration from those that definitely weren't involved, because we all know it was an accident, okay? We'll all go along with the accident narrative until it's later admitted it wasn't. And Julian Assange has been granted the right to appeal his extradition to the United States for the crime of exposing their war crimes and corruption. Now, at a time when Britain's prisons are overcrowded and violent criminals, including those that are known to be a danger to children, are being released early, Julian Assange, a man guilty of no such crimes, will remain incarcerated as the can is kicked down the road once again. The hope has always been that after over a decade in prison, much of it in solitary, without any natural sunlight, that Julian's body would deteriorate to such a point where he ceased to be a problem to them. You see, they can't release Julian Assange because that will empower people, and they certainly don't want to do that. They don't want to set a precedent where exposing war crimes becomes acceptable. They want even more destruction of press freedoms, not less. But they also don't want to be seen to hand Assange to the USA, a country whose crimes he exposed, a country that's already been caught plotting to kill him, because that's not good PR. And it kind of does away with the "we're the good guys" label we like to give ourselves, mind you. The UK is currently blindly backing the grotesque crook Benjamin Netanyahu, so maybe they're not too bothered about being seen as the good guys after all.